Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Central Oregon Shenanigans, and welcome Absolute Custom buyers that have bought the do-it-yourself kit and is searching this video, seeking the help and advice of how to put it together. Welcome. If you'd like to, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I got a lot of other vlogs on pickups and other stuff, Broncos, OBS trucks. Assuming that you bought this for an OBS truck, this will be a 92 to 97, well, 92 to 96 F-150 Bronco, 92 to 97 F-250, 350 Power Stroke Diesel or IDI. Your basic assortment of tools for you'll need for the job. Got an angle grinder. I got a tape measure, a big hammer. You're gonna need a square. It would really be nice if you had a couple of these magnets, squares, multi-purpose magnet for 45s. You're gonna need a cutoff wheel. If you want to make it look clean, you're gonna want a polishing or flap disc, wire brush, some C-clamps, a persuasion tool, more C-clamps, some vice grips, a pair of gloves. Keep your hands safe. I did notice already these bumpers, when they're stamped out, they are very sharp, so you're gonna want a pair of gloves to handle it. You're gonna need a welding table that is 80 inches by 24. The one I'm using here is 96 by 24. When you get your bumper, watch my unboxing video. We go through and pull out all the parts and kind of talk about them a little bit. That'll be linked at the end of this video on my end screen. It'll be the only video on the end screen. You can check out the unboxing video of this. Go watch that video, then come join me back on the assembly of this bumper. So basically what we've done here is we've laid out all the parts. All the parts you're going to get with your do-it-yourself kit. We got the bull bar, center support, mounting brackets. You've got your tow hooks, your centerpiece, your outer turns, left and right, your light buckets, left and right. And then you got your end caps, left and right. And you also got a random metal piece, there it is, a random metal piece in the kit, and that is for your end straps, and you will have to bend this, and we'll show you how to do that. Also in your kit is the top piece. This is also going to be your starting base, so you're going to build this bumper upside down. So these two pieces are also going to be in your kit. Lay all these basic pieces out, either on your welding table like we talked about a minute ago, or your piece. What we've done here is we're demonstrating. We went to our local steel yard, and that's also on our on the unboxing video of this, and picked up this is 3/8 by 8x4, 4x8 piece of metal. We had them cut it in half. And that's what we're using for our welding table, and we got plywood underneath of it. We made sure this was all flat. You want to make sure it's 100% level. All right, so what we did to build the table is put this on a piece of plywood, nice flat piece of plywood, and we've got sawhorses underneath of it. If you have a welding bench, that's preferred, but we are showing you that it can be done other ways. So with that being said, guys, let's start laying this out. All right, guys, now that we've went through everything, we've got the template top. This is called the top plate, or I'm naming it the template because it really is the backbone of this whole build. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay it down so it's flush. You wanna make sure it's flush right here, and you wanna make sure it's flush on the other side. And this template is the top plate is going to be 16.5 inches from this top piece right here to the bottom. So what I did is we made sure it was level here. I put a line on the outside, a line on the outside over here. I also put a line here and a line here. Measured it out to 16.5 inches from the top of the top plate / the template to the bottom of your piece of metal. Same on this side. You could also use these new magnets to hold it in place if you wanted to. Slide it over, get it just right, and use the other magnet on the other side to hold it in place so it doesn't move on you. make sure this is level down here, and we're gonna go ahead and at this point you need to go ahead and tack this to the table. So we're gonna go ahead and tack this right now. I'll show you how to do that, and then we're gonna take some other measurements. Also, before you start tacking, so you got 16.5 inches from the top to the bottom of your metal here. You're gonna want to be out at 76.5 from this outer piece, top plate to the outer top plate. Should measure this anywhere in the ballpark. It can be a little bit off as far as what I watched John do on his video. This is 76.5 inches from side to side, outer to outer, not inner to inner, outer to outer on that top plate. So guys, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get the welder out. I see that I need to fix it on that side real quick. And we're gonna go ahead and tack this into place. And we're gonna go ahead and tack the front side here. Alright guys, next up, if your shipment piece, the centerpiece, if it comes tweaked, this one's a little bit tweaked right here. When we got this one, this piece was bent. Go to the tow hitch of your pickup or something similar to this. Put a foot here, and then you can just put your weight into it, and you can actually just bend it. See how it bends? Bend it back. If it comes a little tweaked out of shape, you can do it on the other side right here. Just, you know, be careful. See how it bends? You can bend it back into shape that way. We got this one, and we thought we were gonna have to get a torch out and get it hot. And we talked to John, the manufacturer of this bumper, and he showed us that trick. It bent right back, and it fit our template, or our top plate, so we're good to go. Alright guys, so after you've bent that piece back, let's go ahead and put the centerpiece back up on the table. Go ahead and put our centerpiece back up on the table, and before I put it up into this position with our magnet 45s on the back, I went ahead and measured over. I found 22 3/8 and 22 3/8, so it's dead center. I also found it down here and I marked it already, put it down there. It wouldn't be a bad idea right now to stick these pieces up, kind of look at them and see if they're fitting good, which looks like we're fitting good so far on this side. Do the same on the other side. Looks like we're getting pretty close. Might have to persuade that a little bit. There's a lot of gap at the top, but it looks like we just need a little persuasion there. Before we weld this though, I just kind of mocked that up. I want to lay this centerpiece down. You want to grab your center support. 16 1/4 is the middle of this. 16 1/4 is dead center of the center support. You want to mark that out. 16 1/4 is right there. Mark that out. Find the center of that to line up with the center of the center piece. I kind of put my mark in the middle. I should have done it on the outside here. 16 1/4, huh? Why does it measure different? So 16 1/4 is center. It is center right here. And the center support is 22 3/8. We've talked about that. Line that up. And then you want to make your two outer marks. That's where your mounts are going to go. Here and here. So that's step 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you want to find the center of the centerpiece, 22 3/8, center of the center support, which I think I've got this backwards. We'll talk about that later. We're not tacking this in or anything yet. 16 1/4, and then you want, once you find all the centers of this, you want to mark that side. And you want to mark that side because that's where your brackets are going to go, over there. These guys right here. Alright guys, so now that you've got that all figured out. You need to put the centerpiece in. I've got my 45s here and here to hold the bumper. Check it for square. Make sure it's square. Got your 22 and 3/8 mark. Dead center of that. I put all these pieces up. I checked them just off camera. Both sides, left and right. And once you got this far, go ahead and tack the bumper to the top plate. I went ahead and just spot welded this bumper together. Do not go ahead and lay a bead in here. I've got multiple spot welds on here. Get your wires and your voltage set right. This is a thick bumper. I'm using a lot of volts and a little bit less wire speed. But yeah, I've got some tacks on here. Make sure that you got her tacked on there good. I'm gonna put a couple more on here, I think. All right, guys, let's go ahead and recap what we've done 1 through 5 here. We found the, let's see, we have found the center of the bumper, 22 and 3/8. We've also found the center of the support plate, 16 and 1/4. We've also, when we put that on there and lined up the 2 marks here and here, we've marked out the ends of the support plate for the brackets. And we've also, step number 5, we've welded the center plate to the top plate, or our template that we're doing. And we've also welded the template to the table. So our next task, guys, is step 6, is weld the inner sides on. We're gonna go ahead and set these guys up next and get these tacked onto place. Alrighty, guys, so this is what this should look like when you get it into position. You may have to take a pair of vice grips, get it into place. We put the 45s on the back side to hold it into place while I tacked it. And as you can see, that's not perfect, so you're gonna wanna take, after you get this all tacked up, I'm gonna put a tack on the back here, and we're gonna go ahead and bend this into place and put some tacks on it. Let's check it.
I just can't get down.
That's good. We had to take a little bit off the top plate. It just did not seem to fit right. We had a gap. Everything's perfect. We remeasured, double checked. Let's see here, we got
better.
Way better. Well, there. Right there. I'm not sure, guys. We're messing with this a little bit. We'll get back to this, but these 2 cones on the side, 2 outer pieces, we've got them on. They look great. I need to put a tack on that before I release those vice grips. All right, guys, you are gonna want to take. You're gonna have to go ahead and grind probably a little bit off and make it fit just right. You had to. These kits, you're gonna have to do a little massaging on the metal. We sat here, and it's just the way of the nature of the beast on this kit. It looks like that you just got to take some metal off to make these fit just perfect. But yeah, you're gonna have to massage some metal here and there to get these to fit together just right. Gosh. But we're working on the end caps next here, guys. So end cap number 1, end cap number 2.
Take a little more off right there.
A little more.
Yep.
You can always add a little bit back. You can always add a little bit more back with the electric glue gun, metal glue gun. Grind a little bit to make these fit just right. And over here, the same thing for these end caps. These straps need to go on, but I'm gonna put those on as a step after afterwards. You can right now, if you wanted to, put these end straps on. So you could grab this piece right here and this piece right here and your big hammer and bend these. That goes right here, and I'll show you how to do that. It'll be in this video. You can do that now. You just basically beat on it, bend it, and then cut it and weld those straps on. I'm gonna do that after the fact. Once we bust this, I'm gonna grab the grinder. I'm gonna grind all my spot welds off this table, and we're gonna go ahead and start welding this sucker together tonight. So guys, after you get your end caps on, we're welding the seams up right now. I'm using flux core wire, so it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but you grind these down anyway. So you know, I'm not the most educated welder in the world. I don't do this for a living. I'm trying to get the adjustments just right, but we'll see how it looks after we grind it down. But yeah, I think so far so good. Once we get all these ground down and welded, we'll show you the shell. I recommend just building the shell first, and then we'll work on building the backside of the bumper. After you guys tack your buckets and you like them, guys, go ahead and just weld them on in. I'm not gonna show that side. I'm struggling with my welds this morning, but nobody's gonna really see these guys. But yep, let's go ahead and weld those buckets in on both sides, and let's move on to the center support and mounts. All right, guys. So next, after you get your light buckets in, we're gonna go ahead and grab your center support and your two mounts that were provided in your kit. Now with your center support, you notice it's got a curve right here. Let's put it towards the bumper we're working on our table. You've got a curve on this side. You've got 4 holes, two on each side. And I do believe that that is for your light bar. Once you get this in here, it'll sit just like this. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, we went ahead and measured our center of our bumper and our center of our center support. So the centerpiece and the center support both got measured at the beginning of the video. If you skip too far ahead, you might want to go back and check that out. And in your kit, you've got 2 of these mounts. This is what's going to mount the bumper to the frame. You notice there's a notch on these. I'm pretty sure, and I'll show you guys in a second. You find your left and your right, and those notches are going to go towards the front of this, and it's got to do with the curvature of this bumper. You notice that they're not center, so you're going to want the left side, find the left and the right, and you want your holes on the bottom of this plate. You don't want to have them, I don't think you can, no, you can't jack these around. So you got a left and a right, notches forward, and you want to make sure your holes are on the bottom. Now when you get this tacked up and in here, it's going to be 4.5 center on your top hole and 7 inches center on your bottom hole. I would get this all tacked up, guys, and do not weld it yet. Let's just go ahead and tack this left and right, and then we'll lay it in there, and let's take some measurements. Measure twice, measure 3 times, cut once, or weld once in this instance. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this camera off. I'm going to show you a little bit on this camera, and then we'll do a little tacking. All right, guys, so yeah, like we just showed you on that camera, you got your curve, 4 holes. You got your curve, 4 holes. You want to take your time with this piece, double check your measurements, make sure you're center of the bumper, center of this, and make sure your notches are forward on this piece. You want to make sure they're at the bottom. 7 and 4.5 are our measurements. I like to have a marker, Sharpie. You mark it on your table, whatever. I can only find a purple one. I know. It'll work though. So we're gonna go ahead and take the magnet for this tack welding. I'm gonna get her on there with the magnet where I like it, and then I'm gonna put a tack down in there. Do the same on that side, and we'll catch you in a minute. Alrighty guys, now after you got those tacked into place, let's go ahead and drop the center support and your mount. Now it's one piece. We'll just call this piece the center support now that we've got the two mounts onto the center support. So drop your center support into your bumper, grab your handy tape measure. Let's grab the top of the bumper, come down to 4.5 inches for this top hole. It's good. Come down to 7. It's good. You can either measure from this crack over, which should be 6 1/8 roughly, or you can come on the inside to the light, where the light bar window is, and should be 4 7/8. So with those, yeah, that's just kind of a double check we can do. And same on this side to get it center, 4.5 and 7. I need to go up a little bit, it looks like on this side. But as far as left and right, everything's looking good. Everything's looking really good. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the center support back out, and let's go ahead and weld it up. All right guys, now that you got your center support built, you got both your mounts welded, now we're just gonna call this whole unit the center support. Like recap again, so you wanna be able to pull your tape down. You wanna be 4.5 and 7 on both sides, 4.5 and 7. From here to here, I don't think that's where we measured it. We actually measured it from the top to the very bottom of this, the center support top. Center support is 8.5, and it's 8.5 on this side. And then from the inside to your light bar hole in the center of the bumper is 4 7/8 and 4 7/8. That should be center. If it's off slightly, you got a lot of adjustment here. You could also up and down, I'm pretty sure side to side a little bit. So you'll have a lot of adjustment on these guys right here, how big they are. So with that being said, go ahead and weld your center support in, guys. Yeah, it doesn't look like you can fill that gap in down there. You could lay something in there, a little extra, and get some support, but what this company's left you on here, you've got a good, looks like about 4 inches, and then you can weld down this guy, and it's, you know, 6 inches long, so 6x4 right there, 6x4 welds on this side. If you wanted to get on the inside here and weld it around, you could. I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, we'll see you back on the video as soon as you get that done welded. As soon as you get that welded up, we'll see you back on the next step. Alrighty guys, after you've welded your bumper completely, we're using a flat disc. Grind all your welds smooth. Make them look like that. Alrighty guys, we are back from using a chop saw. You're probably gonna need a chop saw. You're gonna have to use a hacksaw. We're gonna make a recommendation to the manufacturer if they can't pre-cut these a little better from the factory. But your bull bar goes right here on this seam and on this top seam. That's what we've been. And drop it down right there. You kind of can place it anywhere you want to, whatever looks best to you. I mean, it's designed to go just like this though, and these cuts are 5 degrees parallel going this direction to the bar, so it's not flat. The cuts aren't flat to the bar, they're 5 degrees parallel going the other direction is what we were told. We hadn't, hate to say this, but we had no way really to do that with the chop saw that I had, so we kind of had to mark it as best we could with a pin and go that route. I've got help here. We're gonna shut the camera off for a second, and I'm gonna tack the bull bar onto the bumper, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you what we've done. And we'll go over the very last thing we're gonna go over after the bull bar is gonna be the straps that go on the back here. You should have all your seams welded at this point, front and back, all ground down smooth before you go to this next part. So if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and grind all your welds down. Make sure all the inside and outside seams are done before you add this on, because once you add that on, the bull bar on, it's going to be harder to flip your bumper upside down, left, right, with that sticking out. It's a good point. So anyway. Alrighty guys, it's definitely a different day and a different dollar back on the build here. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and mount the front hooks, loops, the hooks for the front of this bumper. What where they want you to mount these is 5 1/4 from right here. So I went ahead and measured 5 1/4 over, and I've got my magnet holding it in place. You could lay this down also. You're gonna want to also get a square on it from here over, square up, square like that. And now we are ready to weld, and we're going to want to tack that in place and then check it. So go ahead and do that. Go ahead, square everything up, and make sure it's square top to bottom where you want it. You don't have to do it this way. If you bought the build it yourself kit, you could probably put it wherever you want to. This is how it normally is supposed to go though, 5 1/4 top and bottom. And that's kind of where I want it, and that's where she's going to stay. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the welder. I'm going to tack that in place. I'm going to get this one on, tack it in place. Alrighty guys, with these welded on, they should look like that. I checked them again and ground the welds and all the slag off of the sides of these. They look really nice. Very nice indeed. You should have got a strap in your packaging with this bumper. What I did is I laid this strap over the bumper like that, and I took an 8-pound hammer and I beat the piece of metal to fit that angle, and then I used a chop saw to chop that angle. Just got the straps welded on and ground down. I rounded my corners. I left this sharp on the top, but I rounded this corner and this corner. That's what it probably should look like when it's done. Overall, the bumper, what it should look like when it's all finished. Thanks for tuning in to this. Hope you have great success with your Absalute Customs bumper build it yourself kit. If you have considered buying the rear bumper, I'm going to be doing a video on that. Go check that out. It's going to be out as soon as this one's done. I'm going to work on getting a video on that. Consider subscribing to our channel if you're tuning in just to watch the build. We do a lot of other things on this channel. Go check out John Fox at the Fox Shop if you don't know who I'm talking about. He's the one that was here helping us with it, and then we finished without him. Also, if you tuned into this video and you want one of these bumpers, go to Absalute Customs. It'll be in the description below as well. Go check his website out. He does more than just bumpers. He does side steps and lift kits and just a lot of other different things. So with that being said, thanks for watching. See you next time here on Central Oregon Shenanigans. Bye guys.